Trucker Dave here, and today we get back to work on the Crown Vic. So what we're going to do today is we're going to clean up the Crown Vic. We're going to do an overall evaluation of it, and we're going to get the paint cleaned up the best we can and show you why and how this kind of damage occurred, so you don't have to deal with this at home, and it's something for you to watch for. So here we go. We got our little vacuum here set up. It's a little 1 gallon vac that plugs into the wall. I don't like things that plug into the cigarette lighter, so I don't think they have enough juice. So we're going to get this going and get this thing cleaned up. I'm not even going to lie, the inside of this car is a little funky. Like I said, it's been sitting out and some rodents got in here, but we'll be able to get it all cleaned up. I'm gonna have to get out here with the scrub pad, but well, this stuff is nothing that won't clean up rather easily. We got 2 attachments here with this little vacuum. I got the flat blade here, which works really good, but the problem is the corners, and for that I have this thing. But the one thing this thing did not come with was a brush head, so I guess I have to make do with what I have. Well, it's coming along pretty well. Having to get a lot done early in the morning before it gets too hot, but the vacuum's holding up all right. Like I said, I could use a brush, but this is going to work just fine. I'll have to figure out a way. There's a lot of, I think it's dog hair in the car. I'll have to figure out how to get out, but overall it's really coming together pretty good. So back at it. Now it's making noise. Now that we've got the inside basically done, we have to attack the trunk. The trunk's not too bad. It's got some junk in it, spare tire, an old pair of shoes, and typical mice. But the one thing about the trunk that gives me pause is it's got a smell. Ooh. Here's a little bit of a tech tip. This looks like trash, and it is. But sometimes when you have to order these new parts, things like this little rubber piece don't come with the part. Or also, it's got the barcode on the back. So if you had to go to the dealership and order it because the junkyard doesn't have it, you can take that in, and they will be able to get you your part and the right part the first time. So that's just a little hint. And it's a little rubber grommet here, and on the back of the headlight there were some things too. So save your extra parts just in case, because you might buy a brand new part and it may not come with the extras. A lot of parts are like that now, which kind of suck. You got to buy all the little extraneous pieces separately. So just a little tip, just save your pieces until you're sure you don't need them. So we've got some dishwashing soap and some cleaner and all that here. This is actually some Dawn in a spray bottle. We're going to attack the top and the door jambs. And the interior, for the most part, it's pretty cleaned out now. Got a few little spots, but hopefully we can get rid of. This is going to take a lint roller. A lot of people asked why I didn't take this out and pressure wash it. The reason was because it's very flimsy material, and if you're going to go through the trouble of taking it all out, it's probably just going to be worth your while to go down to the dealership and buy a new trunk line, which are a little pricey. These are really flimsy. They're basically cardboard back felt or real stiff felt, and if you get them just too wet and soaked, they just will never go back to the way they originally were. So that's something to remember. So we're going to grab my old army bucket, got the soap inside, go find my spigot. and we're gonna get to washing. So I got an old t-shirt here. Basically, when you get into the cracks, something like this or even an old sock will work, and it's just a lot of, you got to scrub, you know, loosen things up. And even if you don't get it perfect, once you get it back to because yeah, see, I'm creating a lot of mud, and that just takes time to clean out. But once you get it all, for the most part, cleaned up, a garden hose will take care of the rest of this. Now that we've gotten all the area around the trunk, we're going to attack the top of it. We're going to get this stuff off. This is sap from sitting under a tree and just basic filth. When stuff, you know, flippers down from the tree, it sticks to the car. Well, after a while the dirt sticks to it, and then it ends up becoming part of your paint. That's why we have this problem. Now, I'm not going to lie, paint in the early 2000s was crap, but you really had to stay on top of it. And when you let your car sit in direct sunlight without moving it and without washing it or putting a good coat of wax on it, this kind of thing happens. I know you car guys are gonna faint right about now when you see what I'm about to do, but when soap water and a rag won't get it off, you can use one of these. It's an SOS pad, but you have to be very, very careful because you are going to be lightly sanding the paint. And then with this paint, it's very thin. So basically all you want to take is the dirt off and not anything else. And don't let it dry on the car because it'll be fun getting it off. So just put it in the water and get it wet, and just not too much force till you just start seeing it come off. And there we go. Now mind you, if the paint was still good under this, the minute we had it all cleaned up, we would be putting a good coat of turtle wax on it. We're not going to worry about that on this car. See, it just cleaned right up. And it'll look nice when it's done. I mean, as nice as it can look. But the important thing is not to really push any force on it. Just kind of let the pad do the work, and you won't damage the paint. See how much better that looks? Now we get on the roof. So now we have SOS'd off the entire car, and it's really starting to pop, so I'm really happy about that. And we're looking on the inside, and we've cleaned out the door jambs and got the dirt out of there, vacuumed, and I've SOS'd this, and this came out really nice, so I'm really anxious to see what the rest of the car is going to look like. So now we've got the interior all cleaned up and armor-alled and cleaned out. I'll probably have to take some Windex to this, but for the most part, I mean, now, you know, I can turn the key on and I can actually read the instrument cluster, which is nice. There was a lot of dirt on it. So yeah, I mean, that's all better now, and you can see how dirty it was down here. I've got to get some Q-tips, but got all the door panels cleaned up and everything cleaned up just surprisingly well. So I'm really pleased with the way the inside cleaned up and the outside cleaned up. I'm most likely going to, when I get the car tagged and insured, I'm going to take it down to a car wash and have them steam clean the interior, do the shampooing and all that, just because I don't have the equipment. And for 75 bucks, I mean, why wouldn't you? It's been sitting out. It does have kind of a smell to it, and I'm kind of scared what's going to happen when I roll the windows back up and it starts to marinate. But aside from that, everything's really clean, and I'm very pleased with the way things have turned out so far. Well, that's about all I got. It really wasn't a whole lot with washing the car, but there's a couple different reasons why when you get a new project car, you go and wash it and armor all it and clean it up and even wax it, and you know, just get it all cleaned up. And the first one is, nobody likes to work on a dirty car. I mean, if you're going to be driving this thing eventually, why wouldn't you want it clean? So get it cleaned up and see what you're dealing with. But there's even a more important reason of why you clean your car. And the more important reason is you're building a relationship with your car. You're learning every nook, every scratch, every dent, every nook and cranny. You're learning where the dirt piles up. You're learning where the drain holes are. You're learning what's broken. You're learning what needs fixed. And you're building a relationship with this automobile. As goofy as that sounds, that's the only way I know how to describe it. You know, it helps when you know what you're doing. That way when you go to like the junkyard, you can have an idea what you're looking for. So if somebody gives you a part, says this is it, you can say, I'm pretty sure it's not. Or, hey, that's exactly what I need. It's all about becoming familiar with your car. That way you have a starting point and you know what you need to progress. And you know what needs to be fixed. I mean, it's a great launching point. And that's why every time I get a project car, whether I'm going to keep it or not, the first thing I do is wash it. Because hand washing that car, I learned about the paint today. I learned what was broken in the interior. I learned what was missing in the trunk. I learned where some water leaks were. I learned all sorts of things. And these things are important when you're rebuilding your vehicle. That way you can fix them when the opportune time happens, rather than put everything all back together, be finally satisfied that you're done with fixing the car, and then realize you forgot something small and have to tear the whole thing back apart, which has never happened. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope this has been some help. You know, I tried to make it a little more than, you know, 15 minutes of me washing a car because that's really not all that fun. But this was kind of the wrap up to show you why I do what I do, and a little bit hints and tips on, you know, what made it easier to clean, especially on a car that's been sitting out in a field where this has. So I appreciate it, and thanks for watching.